Knitting of cables could look difficult and complicated, and the instructions for knitting them can be a little off-putting. But once you try knitting cables, you realize that they are quite straightforward and easy to knit. As soon as you understand the principle, terms and symbols, you are on track. Slip a few stitches to cable needle. Easy task. Knit or purl a few stitches. You know how to do it. And the last step is knitting a few stitches from the cable needle. Another easy step. So if you can knit and purl, you can knit cables. But there are a few tricks for how to simplify knitting of cables. How to make them neat and tidy without overstretching the yarn, and in some cases even the ways to avoid using the cable needle. And today I will show you how to knit some types of cables easily. First of all, you don't necessarily need a cable needle for knitting of cables. For example, you can use sock needles or double pointed needles, or you can use the middle part of stitch holder if you've got one. They are the same as a cable needle. Let's start with the easiest two-stitch cables, where you need to cross two stitches to the right or to the left. One by one cables are the easiest one, and those are very easy to knit without cable needle. I would even say it is recommended working them without cable needle, because the cable needle is a bit too heavy to be held by just one stitch while you are knitting another one. And it is very likely that this stitch will be slightly overstretched because of the weight of the cable needle. So as a first step, I will show you how to work one by one cables without cable needle. The first method, you can cross the stitches without slipping them off the left needle. So you need to knit into the front of the second stitch first, and without slipping stitches of the left needle, you can knit the first stitch. And now you can slip those stitches of the left needle, and you've got your crossed stitches. If you need to cross stitches to the left, you can do this without cable needle as well. To cross stitches to the left without a cable needle, you can do this with following two methods. The first method, you need to approach the second stitch behind the first one and knit it. And now you can knit the first stitch. So here are our crossed stitches. I will show this one more time. So I approach my second stitch behind the first one and knit into front of the stitch, and then I knit the first stitch normally. So I've got crossed stitches. But for some yarns it could be a bit difficult to work those cross stitches. So you can do this another way. You can turn those stitches with back loop facing first, the same way as you do this for slip slip knit decrease. So you are slipping two stitches one after another to right needle knitwise, then move them back to left needle, and now you can easily knit your second stitch through the back loop and knit the first stitch. So you can see the same result, but by using different method. Now I will show you how to cross two stitches changing the position on left needle first, but without using of cable needle. If you need to cross stitches to the right, you need to slip your stitches to the right needle first, approach the first stitch from the back, slip it to the left needle, remove right needle from both stitches, and now you need to catch your second stitch with right needle and place it back to the left needle. And now you can easily knit those two stitches. If you want to cross stitches to the left, you need to slip the first stitch of the needle, hold it with your thumb, then slip the second stitch to your right needle, place the first stitch to the right needle, and move both stitches to the left needle, and now you can easily knit those two stitches. The same way you can work 3-stitch cables. For example, if you need to cross one stitch over the 2 stitches, and I will show you how to do this for crossing stitches to the right. The same principle, I slip 3 stitches to the right needle, approach first 2 stitches from the back, slip them to the left needle. At the same time, I'm dropping my first needle. Now I catch my third stitch with my right needle at front and place it to the left needle. Now I simply knit 3 stitches. And to cross one stitch over the 2 stitches to the left, I will need to slip my first stitch of the left needle, hold it with my thumb, then slip 2 stitches to my right needle, pick up the first stitch, move all 3 stitches to the left needle, and now I can knit them. So now I will purl my round side row, and I will show you how to do those cross stitches with cable needle. In some cases, you will need to cross knit and purl stitch, and it's easy to remember that knit stitch always will be at front. For example, if I want to cross those stitches to the left, my first stitch will be knit stitch and I will keep it at front on cable needle. I'm showing how to do this with cable needle now. So I purl the next stitch and knit the stitch on my cable needle. If I need cross stitches to the right and one stitch is purl stitch, so purl stitch will go on my cable needle to back, and again stitch at the front is always knit stitch, unless you are working some very special cables. The same situation if you want to cross stitches knit and purl without cable needle. You cross the stitches and the stitch which is in front will be knit stitch. So I purl one stitch and knit the next one. This is principle of cables. If cables are on purl background, the stitches at front are always knit stitches. So here I need to cross stitches to the right. I change the position, and the stitch at front is knit stitch, and the next stitch is purl stitch. The same story with 3 stitch cables. I will cross one knit stitch over the next 2 stitches, and I'm going to purl them. And stitch at front is my knit stitch. And now I will show it to you for crossing to the right. Once crossing one stitch on the top of 2 stitches. And again, stitch at the front is knit stitch, and the following 2 stitches on cable needle are purl stitches. So this is if we are talking about 2 stitch cables and 3 stitch cables which are the same. Cables, when you are crossing more stitches, like 4 stitch cables or 6 stitch cables, when you crossing 2 stitches over another 2 stitches, they are very similar to 1 by 1 cables, but in some cases it is safer to work them with cable needle, especially if we are talking about slippery yarns such as silk, viscose, or maybe some synthetic blends. So for those type of yarns I would recommend using cable needle. If we are talking about wider cables, which are like 8 stitches, where you cross 4 stitches over 4 stitches, in this case I would definitely work them with cable needle. Now I will show you how to cross 4 stitches without cable needle. It's not possible to cross those stitches without slipping them off the needle completely, but we can cross them by changing their position, the same way as we did this for 2 stitch cables. For example, here, if I want to cross stitches to the left, I need to slip 4 stitches to my right needle, approach 2 first stitches from the front with my left needle, insert my left needle inside of those 2 stitches, slip all stitches off my right needle, and now I need to catch my last 2 stitches, stitches 3 and 4, behind my left needle and place them to the left needle. And now I need 4 stitches. Showing this one more time. So I'm catching my so I need to slip 4 stitches to my right needle. Now insert my left needle into first 2 stitches at front, slip all stitches of the right needle, catch my last 2 stitches with right needle and place them to my left needle and knit them. Another method, you can slip 2 stitches of your left needle with help of right needle, place them to front of your knitting, hold them with your thumb, slip next 2 stitches to right needle. Now catch those 2 stitches with right needle and place all 4 stitches back to your left needle and knit them. As you can see, there are 2 methods to cross stitches without cable needle. And now I will show you how to cross stitches to the right without cable needle. So first you need to slip all your 4 stitches to the right needle. Approach first 2 stitches with tip of your left needle behind of your knitting, the same way as we did it for the 2 stitch cables. Remove all stitches of the right needle, catch your 2 second stitches at front with help of your right needle and place them to your left needle and then knit them. Nice and safe. So you need to move all 4 stitches to your right needle. Approach first 2 stitches from the back, slip them to your left needle, and then catch 2 stitches at front with your right needle and place them to the left needle and knit 4 stitches. And for crossing stitches with cable needle, you follow the same steps as we did it for 2 stitch cables. You're keeping your slipped stitches at front of your knitting on your cable needle or in the back. So if we are talking about 6 stitch cables, which are 3 by 3 cables, you would work them the same way. In some cases, you need to cross more than 6 stitches, like 8 stitches cables, where we need to cross 4 stitches over another set of 4 stitches. While the principle of knitting those cables is absolutely the same as for all other cables which we've just discussed, there is one thing which we need to take into account. Those cables can overstretch the yarn and deform the stitches both sides of cables and even create the holes, because at the point of crossing our knitting will be very tight. How tight, it would depend on the quality of your yarn and on your knitting gauge. However, there is one trick which could help us to relax those stitches and avoid the deformation. All you need to do is to make a yarn over or 2 yarn overs while you are crossing stitches, and then in the following wrong side row you need to slip this yarn over of the needle without working it. So in this case, the extra piece of yarn would spread evenly across the crossed stitches and prevent the deformation. And I will show you how to do this on my vest. Also, what I want to say is that I definitely not going to cross this type of cables with many stitches without cable needle. So you either need to slip first set of stitches, 4 stitches or 5 stitches or 6 stitches to your cable needle and keep them in front if you're crossing stitches to the left, or keep it in the back if you are crossing stitches to the right. Now you need to knit 2 stitches, make yarn over, knit another 2 stitches, And now I need to do the same for the stitches on my cable needle. I need 2 stitches, make yarn over, and knit another 2 stitches. And I will do this for all 8 stitches cables in my row. So I need 2 stitches, make yarn over, knit another 2 stitches, and knit 2 stitches on my cable needle, make yarn over, and knit another 2 stitches. And then back and pattern to my next cable, where I'm going to cross 3 stitches, 2 stitches over the one, and here purl stitch, but I'm going to knit it. So what I'm going to do, I work this cable without cable needle, the same way as I explained you earlier. So I knit my stitches up to my next crossed stitches, or up to next crossing, and I change position of my stitches without cable needle again, and work and pattern. So you can see, if you don't use cable needle for simple cables, it saves your time. So now I'm going to cross 8 stitches again, and I'm going to add yarn overs. And add 1 yarn over on stitches on my cable needle, 2 stitches on my cable needle. So here I knitted the whole row, and in the following wrong side row I'm going to slip those extra yarn overs of my needle. So I purl 2 stitches. Here my yarn over, I slip it off the needle, and then I purl 4 stitches up to the next yarn over, and I slip it off the needle and continue in pattern. All you need just to remember to slip off those yarn overs, otherwise you can create extra stitch inside of your cable, which we don't really need. So this is how my cables look in process of knitting. No holes or tight stitches here, no deformation. You can see all purl columns looks the same. You can slightly see the place where you added yarn overs, but after blocking you wouldn't notice anything at all. This is 6 stitches cable, and this is 8 stitches cable on my swatch, and I blocked the swatch, and you can see all cables look beautiful, and I didn't add any yarn overs to the 6 stitch cable, just to the wide one. In some cases you need to work double crossed cables, or twice cross stitches, where you cross 2 sets of stitches over top of the middle set. For example, here I crossed 2 sets of knit stitches at front of purl column, and here I crossed 2 sets of knit stitches at front of middle knit stitches, and I will show you how to do this. And for this you will need 2 cable needles. So to work this type of cables, you need to keep 2 slipped stitches at front and then 2 slipped stitches at back. So what I need to do, I need to slip 2 stitches to my front on my first cable needle. Then I need to slip next 2 stitches to the second cable needle and keep it behind of my knitting. Now I need to knit next 2 stitches. Then my next step, I need to knit 2 stitches on my cable needle on the back. And next, last step, I need to knit 2 stitches on my first cable needle at front. So you can see I crossed 2 sets of stitches, both sides of my middle knit stitches. Those cables looks little bit different from the standard cables where we cross just 2 stitches. I think they are quite pretty. I never used this type of cable in my designs, but I like it. By the way, this type of knitting needles is not good for knitting of cables. It's hard to insert those tips inside of stitches when you cross them. So for this type of cable, we need to cross 2 sets of knit stitches and 1 set of purl stitches. So for this cable, I need to use 2 cable needles, and again I need to slip 2 stitches and keep them in front of my work. Now I need to slip next 2 stitches and keep them in the back or behind my knitting. And next step, I need to knit 2 stitches. Now I purl stitches from my second cable needle. As you can see, the position of middle stitches stays the same. They were in the middle and they stay in the middle. And now I need to knit 2 stitches on my first cable needle, which is at front of my knitting. So this is another type of cable, and the cable which we work using 2 cable needles. As you can see, changing the quantity of rows between crossed stitches change the look of our cable. So you can see how many beautiful and different cables we can create just by crossing stitches in different quantities and changing distance between crosses of cables. We can create twists, braids like this one, or we can create diamonds with pearl background inside or with stocking background inside. And here I've got 1 by 1 or 2 cross stitches inside of my diamond as well. You can take cables from stitch books or you can create your own cables. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video and that you found some useful information which you are going to use for your knitting projects, which would help to improve your knitting. Remember to subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in my next video tutorial, which is coming soon. And until next time, happy knitting!